You follow the rules, you work the hours, you offer honesty, and you wait for the system to recognize your effort. But more often than not, you watch the people who bypass those rules take the positions you were promised. This frustration stems from the social rulebook we are given as children. It suggests that reality operates on a linear scale of merit and fairness. We are taught that if we provide value, we will be rewarded in equal measure. In reality, human society is driven by a hidden set of mechanics that prioritize survival and leverage over sentiment. These are the gears that actually determine who wins and who is left behind. Niccolò Machiavelli spent his life recording how power actually moves when the polite masks come off. He treated human behavior as a sequence of clinical observations rather than a list of moral ideals. His findings, published in 1532, outlined the brutal logic of human interaction. The dynamics he mapped out in the Renaissance are the exact same mechanics active in every modern negotiation and corporate structure. Blindly believing in the fiction of fairness guarantees you will remain a victim. You are choosing to operate on a map of a world that doesn't exist, while those who understand the actual terrain continue to exploit your naivete. To navigate this terrain, you have to ignore the most common distraction: words. Most people use speech to manage how they are perceived, creating a superficial layer that rarely matches their actual intent. Words are zero-cost tools. Someone can promise loyalty or pledge to change without expending actual resources, making verbal assurance a primary instrument for manipulation. The true source code of interaction is behavior, driven by a constant calculation of self-interest, weighing gain against loss. Every decision is filtered through what it provides them, like reputation, safety, or future obligation. Once you identify the specific incentive someone is chasing, their actions stop being mysterious. By tracking the pattern of their past behavior against their current self-interest, their future moves become a matter of logic rather than guesswork. The environment itself is built on an uneven foundation. Meritocracy is the story we tell to maintain order, but the system actually optimizes for a different set of metrics. Success is dictated by leverage, timing, and strategic positioning. A small amount of influence supplied at the right moment can move an entire organization, while decades of hard work can go unrecognized if they provide no strategic advantage. Laws and social constraints are often designed to manage the powerless. They create a predictable environment that allows the system to function without disruption from below. For those with significant power, rules often function as suggestions. When the strategic reward of a move exceeds the cost of the penalty, the boundary is ignored. This is a cold calculation of risk, not a fluke. Wasting energy on the unfairness of this structure changes nothing. Expecting a system with built-in loopholes to reward you for following every minor rule is a failure of strategy, not a sign of virtue. Because every person is solving for their own interest, trust becomes a primary risk. The people closest to you pose the highest potential threat, simply because they have the most information about your weaknesses. Strategic competitors often use the disguise of friendship to bypass your initial defenses. A betrayal cannot happen unless you first grant someone the access they need to execute it. In a competitive landscape, displaying an exposed wound clearly signals to predators that you are an easy target. It invites an attack because it lowers the perceived cost of moving against you. Broadcasting your insecurities provides competitors with a map of exactly where to hit when it serves their objectives. It turns your private struggles into their future ammunition. To survive, you must guard your vulnerabilities with the same intensity that others use to hunt for them. Weakness is an invitation for exploitation from anyone looking for a quick strategic gain. You are already inside this system. Its mechanics govern your career, your relationships, and your status, whether you choose to acknowledge them or not. Remaining passive doesn't remove you from the board. It simply turns you into a passive variable in other people's strategies. You are still being moved. You just aren't the one deciding where. When you refuse to be a player, you become a resource for the objectives of others. You are a tool to be utilized or discarded based on how well you serve someone else's move. Seeing these mechanics clearly will change how you view every interaction. It creates a distance between you and the majority of people who believe the world is governed by the rules they were taught in school. That clarity is your defense. When you understand that leverage and interest run the world, you can no longer be blindsided by betrayal or controlled by empty promises. You are finally seeing the board for what it is. Stop waiting for the world to behave the way you were told it should. Accept the actual architecture of human behavior and start making the strategic moves required to secure your own position.